Hi, it's Jeff Altman, the Big Game Hunter, and you are watching Career Coach Office Hours. Now, I have to, in all honesty, say I wasn't planning on doing a show this week. After all, it's the week between Christmas and New Year's, and I'll just simply say I was going to take a week off, maybe two, but an idea came to me that I didn't really want to wait on. So I'll just simply say, if you've got a question about job search, hiring more effectively, managing, leading, dealing with different workplace issues, a career transition, put your questions into chat. I'll answer them during the show, and on this show, so will ChatGPT. We're going to see how this works, how it carries itself, and whether you like its answers better than mine. I'll also mention to you to connect or follow me on LinkedIn at linkedin.com/IN/the Big Game Hunter. Mention that you saw this video. I like knowing I'm helping folks. And once you're connected, your network is going to be a lot larger because, frankly, my network is bigger than most of yours. Also, my website, thebiggamehunter.us. There's a ton in the blog that can help you. Plus, you can schedule time for a free discovery call, schedule time for a coaching session, find out about my courses, books, and guides. Again, there's just a lot there to help. Also, subscribe to JobSearchTV on YouTube. You can download the app by the same name for your Fire TV or Fire Stick. So that's JobSearchTV has an app. You can also watch me on BingeNetworks.tv, and that covers 300 other streaming services where you can watch my content there. And lastly, I'll just mention my podcast, No BS Job Search Advice Radio, is #1 in Apple Podcasts for job search. It has been on air for more than 12 years, more than 2,500 episodes. I think most recent episode is 2530. It's on hiatus until January 9th of 2023. So subscribe now and you'll start getting the shows delivered to you on whatever streaming service you listen to podcasts, or on Spotify. It's a video podcast and you can watch it there. Now, again, I'm going to play today with ChatGPT. And what I'm going to do is I received questions in advance, and I'm going to answer them first. And then from there, I'm going to see what ChatGPT thinks and see whether you like it better than me. Okay. Is it appropriate for candidates to follow up with recruiters who asked about their availability but never contacted them? Yes. So my answer is pretty direct. Yes. Follow up with them. Now, if a month has gone by, you can just simply message them and say to them, we spoke or we exchanged messages a few weeks ago. Hadn't heard from you since. I got the idea that, you asked about my availability. Could you bring me up to date? And that makes it very simple, that they become clear about what has transpired. And the probability, of course, is they weren't able to deliver for their client. And thus, you will hear some version of excuse with regard to what the status is of the situation. Now, ChatGPT has an answer that reads, it is generally appropriate for candidates to follow up with recruiters if they have not heard back after a reasonable amount of time. However, it is important to be respectful and professional in the follow-up message. Here are some tips for following up with a recruiter. #1, wait a reasonable amount of time before following up. This will depend on the specific circumstances, but it's generally a good idea to wait at least a week before following up. #2, keep the message brief and to the point. Recruiters are often busy, so it's important to be concise and respectful in the follow-up message. Mention the original conversation and any relevant details. In the follow-up message, remind the recruiter of the original conversation and the specific role or opportunity that was discussed. Offer to provide, this is number 4, offer to provide any additional information or materials. If the recruiter has not yet made a decision, offering to provide additional information or materials that might be helpful in the decision-making process can be a good way to show your interest and enthusiasm for the opportunity. Number 5, thank the recruiter for their time and consideration. Showing gratitude for the recruiter's time and consideration is always a good idea and can help to maintain a positive relationship, even if you are not ultimately selected for the role. Overall, it's important to be respectful and professional in any follow-up message and to be mindful of the recruiter's time and priorities. Pretty good answer. I think too wordy, too detailed, completely unnecessary, and kind of repetitive, to be honest with you. But no matter, it was accurate. Again, too much so, too much detail that I don't think you really care about or need to have, and not awful. I'll say that. Here's the next question. Question number 2. If the interviewer says, this interview process has been going really well, we'll make a decision by the end of the week. Are they hinting that I'm getting the job? No, they're not hinting about that at all. What they're saying to you is, we like what we've heard so far. You'll have a decision by the end of the week. That's it. Don't overthink this. It's actually pretty simple. They've told you in no uncertain terms that they like the interview and you'll have a decision from them. You didn't read anything there that might say anything more than that, right? So don't overdo it. Just keep it very simple for them. And let's see what ChatGPT says. It is possible that the interviewer's comment about the interview process going well is a positive indication, but it's not necessarily a guarantee that you'll be offered the job. The interviewer may be expressing the general impression of the interview process, but there may still be other candidates being considered for the role. Good point. It's also possible that the interviewer is simply being polite or trying to provide encouragement, even if they do not have any definite plans to make an offer. It's always a good idea to follow up with the interviewer after the interview to express your appreciation for the opportunity and to reiterate your interest in the role. However, it's important to be mindful that the hiring process can be unpredictable, and it's possible that you may not ultimately be offered the job, even if the interview process seemed to go well. Good answer. I can't say there is some fluff in there, not a lot, but the answer is accurate. Let's go to the next one, which is it common for companies to contact candidates before rejecting them for interviews? Let me get that into chat. And is it common for companies to contact candidates before rejecting them for interviews? So this question seems to suggest that you might be contacted and interviewed by phone or Zoom and then rejected. No. I'll also say when I did recruiting, and I think this is pretty common, that if I was not interested, I might do one of two things. Not respond at all because I got spammed with a lot of useless resumes, or have an Outlook signature file set up to reject someone. So I wouldn't interview them at all because their resume in no way, shape, or form fit the role. Why should I waste time interviewing someone who really wasn't qualified to do the job? But sometimes people want that, and it's not my job. My job is to fill positions, not um, smooth things over for job hunters. So ChatGPT says it is not common for companies to contact candidates before rejecting them for interviews. However, some companies may choose to do so as a courtesy to the candidate to inform them that they've not been selected for an interview. This is typically done through an email or phone call. It's important to note that all the companies will follow this practice. I'm sorry, it is important to note that not all companies will follow this practice, and some may not provide any notification to candidates who have not been selected for an interview. I think our answers are pretty similar. Mine was a little less wordy than ChatGPT. And I'll just simply say if you've got a question for me, you can put your question into chat, and your questions can be involved with job search, hiring more effectively, managing and leading better, dealing with different workplace issues, um, career transitions. If you've got a question, put it into chat. I'll answer it, and so will ChatGPT. And let's see what you think of our respective answers. Okay, here's one. Let me just copy and put it into chat. Hmm. So actually, this is fun. Hey, Jeff, what is your favorite thing that job hunters should do between Christmas and New Year's? The answer is contact people from your past to network. I believe this is the easiest time of the year to network. Reconnect with people from your past who you had a professional relationship with or personal relationship that will serve you because networking is really the primary way that jobs are filled. So just a friendly email that says, "Hi, how are you? It's been a long time since we last spoke," or as I sometimes say, "It feels like 100 years since we were last in contact." So I thought I would just see how you were, and maybe we get caught up. You got some time? Let's figure out a time to speak. And again, what that will do is allow you to. Sorry, I'm trying to copy that for ChatGPT, and I can't seem to do that. So I'm going to type that out for it and see what it thinks. And maybe it gives a good answer, maybe it doesn't. But back to you. The thing I like most to do between Christmas and New Year's from a job search perspective is to reconnect with people from the past. Also, bring your resume and LinkedIn profile up to date. Um, I'm just typing the question into the search box for ChatGPT. So my apologies, and I'm going to see what it has to say. Okay. But networking and getting your paperwork up to date makes a lot of sense. ChatGPT thinks the best thing to do for a job search between Christmas and New Year's is to continue actively searching and applying for jobs, as many companies may still be hiring during this time. And not so true. It's also a good idea to network with connections and reach out to recruiters to inquire about potential job openings. Additionally, take the time to update and improve your resume and LinkedIn profile, as well as tailor your applications to specific job openings. Finally, consider reaching out to professionals in your industry for informational interviews or to seek advice on your job search. We have some agreement. I think much of the other stuff you can wait till next week and let people just have some time. But reconnecting with people from your past, by all means, do. Okay, when searching for a job, what do you think is the most overlooked aspect of the job search. Let's get that into chat. 1 second. Uh, what do you think is the most important aspect which is often overlooked? I think I've said this before, but everyone's posturing for advantage during a job search. You may be embellishing your credentials. Recruiters are presenting the job in the best possible light. Hiring managers, well, I think they embellish the truth about the opportunities too. And in doing so, what they often do is withhold information. So they don't tell you why people left. And if they do, they trivialize the reasons why they did. Oh, they left for a better opportunity. And no one asks the follow up question, and what made it a better opportunity? With the result being that you wind up in a situation where you haven't really learned anything from their answer. So when all is said and done, what do I think is the most important aspect that's overlooked is that hiring managers are posturing for advantage too. And as such, they will exaggerate the opportunity, the position, the team, a lot of data in order to get someone on board. That's my opinion. After a 1 hour interview, the recruiter answered my thank you email and said, the team really enjoyed chatting with you, and the impression was very positive. Is this a good sign or just common courtesy? It's like that earlier question. I think it's common courtesy, which I have to, in all candor, say is uncommon courtesy these days. So many organizations are not well mannered, and the result winds up being that people go on interviews and they're ghosted. People go on interviews and they're not treated with respect. They're treated like cattle or chattel. And, you know, the fact that this firm responded is nice. And uh, the fact that you wrote to them is a nice touch too. So the team enjoyed the chat with you. That doesn't say anything in particular. You got the feeling that it was positive. Maybe it was. So is this a good sign? Doesn't guarantee anything, which is what I think you think is a good sign. And thus, is it a good sign or common courtesy? Treat it as common courtesy or uncommon courtesy until such time as they're ready to move forward. Okay. Would you get offended when you get an invite, invited for an interview for a senior developer position, and you're asked to do a whiteboard textbook algorithms? Oh man, I hate when companies do this, but they do. So would I feel insulted? No, I wouldn't feel insulted. I think of them being pretty stupid. I might ask them as a follow up. Oh, I forgot to put the other one in with ChatGPT, and I'll do that in a second. Um, so, would I feel offended? No. Whiteboarding textbook algorithms? No. But after finishing doing that, I might ask them, so what did you hope to learn about me through this exercise? And make them talk about it. Because the fact is, I don't think they learned a heck of a lot, except you could regurgitate rote material from your past. And that's not the way you're going to be working. So, what did they really learn about you? What were they hoping to learn about you through this exercise? Not enough to make it worthwhile, in my opinion. Let's see what ChatGPT thinks. Bear with me for 1 second. There. It would depend on the context and my personal feelings about whiteboarding algorithms. If I feel comfortable and confident in my ability to solve algorithmic problems and feel that it's a relevant and useful assessment for the position, I would not be offended. However, if I feel that the focus on whiteboarding algorithms is excessive or unnecessary for the role, or if I'm not comfortable with this type of assessment, I may feel offended or frustrated. Pretty impressive. ChatGPT can be offended. Ooh. And now on the previous question, let's see what it says to that. That question was after a 1 hour interview, the recruiter answered my thank you email and said, the team really enjoyed chatting with me and the impression was very positive. Is this a good sign or common courtesy? It's generally a good sign when a recruiter says that the team enjoyed chatting with you and had a positive impression of you. This suggests that you made a good impression during the interview and that the team is interested in potentially hiring you. However, it is always important to remember that the hiring process can be unpredictable and there are many factors that can influence a company's decision to hire a candidate. So while this is a positive sign, it's not a guarantee of an offer. I think I'm going to pause here, to be honest with you, and just simply say, I'm going to do this again. I really enjoyed this. I think ChatGPT was useful. And I'll just simply say, if you've got a question for me in the future, what you can do is join next Tuesday's show. That's going to be the first show in 2023. And also, you can message your questions to me in advance through LinkedIn. Also, during the show, you can put your questions about job search, hiring more effectively, managing and leading better, leadership, career transition, or advice about a particular workplace issue. You can put your question into chat. I'd love to help. Also, connect or follow me on LinkedIn at linkedin.com/IN/ the Big Game Hunter. Mention that you saw this. I like knowing I'm helping some folks. And also visit my website, thebiggamehunter.us, to schedule time for a free discovery call, a coaching session, to visit my blog, which has more than 12,000 searchable posts. You can also find out about my courses, books, and guides. I'd love to help. Hope you have a terrific day, and most importantly, be great.